So before we begin, let's kind of handle this animation down here. You can see that whenever this scrolls down, this text still remains, and let's handle that animation. So what you can do is to create a hide bottom animation. So I'm going to create hide bottom. So we are going to interpolate with the make tall animation. And we have an input range from 0, and I want it to be a little bit fast, so I want it to start from 0.2 before it goes to 1. We want the output range to be from 1 to 0, then 0, which is very simple for you to understand. We have an input range of 0 to 1. Like you can see over here, we move from 0 to 1. Then we say in between that 0 to 1, just hide this. Then even at the 1, you still need to hide it. So let's go a little bit down. We have to go to this one. Then we can say the opacity is the hide bottom. And let's go ahead and save. And let's try that again. And you can see automatically dark areas of it. So when we click on this and it goes down, it's going to hide this area. So guys, for us to be able to make use of these icons you actually see over here, we need to go over to Feather Icons website. And in the Feather Icon website, we have to grab these icons directly. We are not making use of the names of the icon. So I have a tutorial on my YouTube channel, how to use SVG images with Expo and React Native apps explained. So you can just come over to this video. You're going to watch how we can use this SVG when we download them on our React Native project. And mind you, you don't tamper with the view box. So just come over to this video and then you can watch it before you continue. So going back to our animation, you can see we have some cool icons. Even though I will not be able to get exactly these icons, but we are still going to be making use of feather icons or any SVG icon which you may think is nice. You can also go to flat icons to get icons. So back in our project folder, I have to create some couple of variables. So we are going to we created a file called constant. So if you happen to get the project from the Github Repo, you can see we added a file called constant.ts. So we are going to be defining some things here. I'm going to import some things from React Native. So let me kind of increase this font a little bit because I want it to be a bit bolder. The font is okay, but 27 will be better. And let's check. Okay. So I want to import from React Native. I'm going to import the pixel ratio and also the dimensions from React Native. So the pixel ratio is more like helping us to round variables or numbers to the nearest pixels based on your screen size. So we are going to use it to actually size the icons perfectly on our screen. And I'm going to import, okay, let me do it this way. I'm going to get the width from dimensions.get windows. So let me just bring this down. So the first thing we can do is to create an interface of icon props. And then for the active, it's going to be optional. So, but it's going to be a Boolean because if you check here, you can see we are going to be using the active Boolean value to actually animate these icons, to actually hide it or show it, just like you can see the way the icon shows with the text. And also the icon gets a little bit of white path, which we are actually going to make. So I'm going to define the number of icons that we are going to be using. So it's going to be 3. And I'm also going to define the horizontal padding, which is going to be 90. And I'm going to export a const called duration for the animation period. We are going to do it for 450 milliseconds. And I'm also going to export a const called padding. So the padding is just going to be 16. Don't worry, we are going to be making use of all this. I'm also going to export a const segment. So the segment is where we are going to be using the pixel ratio. So if you read the React Native official docs, let's kind of have a look at that. I'm just going to check React Native pixel ratio. Let's kind of check a little bit about it. So it's talk more of let's say in practice we found that the developers do not want to use this feature and they want to work around it, doing manual rounding in order to avoid having a blurry element. In React Native, we are rounding all pixels automatically. So automatically this is going around maybe with your screen size. Your screen size happens to be 7 points or 5 points or 6 points based on the phone. Then the pixel ratio automatically rounds it. So they have a very good example at the top here. If you're using an image, so automatically it knows the size to apply with a 200 width and height applied to it. And also over here, they kind of give more example. So going back here, we're going to use it. So I'm going to bring down the pixel ratio dot round to nearest pixels. I'm going to round it with the width of our screen, then divide it by the number of icons. And lastly, for now, let's just export a const called icon size. So the icon size is going to be the segment minus the horizontal padding. So we just don't want it to be a bit bigger than the padding. Likewise, the container is going to be staying on. So back in our welcome.css, so at the top we are going to create our icons, but before we do that, we need to grab our icons. So over here, I'm going to create a folder called icons. I'm going to create a file called index.ts. So I already have these icons put down, and I'm not going to show you how we can do it. So I told you to check out that video. So I'm just going to grab it and put it down, then we can continue. Right now, I have put all those icons down, so let's kind of see it. So right here, we have the icons and also the view box. Like I say, don't tamper with the view box. So I'm just going to make this to go to the right part. So constants, we don't have colors. Let me kind of check. Okay, colors is, we actually need colors. I forgot to export that. Colors. So for the colors, we're going to have a primary color, which is going to be coming from, let's just define a primary color, which is going to be coming from our theme. So we have colors and we have the primary color, and also we have the border. We have the theme.colors.border. We don't have a border, but let me just define a fixed color for here. For now, I'm just going to put 616164. So this kind of look better than the other one. So let me just remove this and put comma there. So we've added that. So back in our welcome.css, at the top here, we are going to be defining the tabs that we are going to be working with, but I forgot that we have to export from, we have the home, export from, we have the car, likewise export from, we have the shield. So these icons don't look correctly, but like I said, you can also find a way to get the right ones and put them. So we have to export this as home, we have to export as car, and also we have to export as shield. And let's go ahead and save that. So back in our welcome file, we can now create a tab. So I'm going to create some tab. So this tab is going to be an array. So the first one, which is the tab, is going to have an icon name, and the first icon name is home. It's gonna have an icon name and it's gonna have an icon. So the icon it's gonna have is the home icon. So once I hit enter, it's going to import that icon for me. Let me kind of check where it is getting that from, and it's getting it correctly. Then I can import the car and the shield. So that's why I added that index.tx. So back here, let me just close this down. You can just copy this down 2 more. So the second one there is the car, and the third one is the shield. So we have the shield and we have the car. So we've actually done all those things. Right now, let's go ahead and start making use of the icon on our application. I'm going to get rid of this. So I think that was a box. So I'm going to change this to, I think I have to import. Oh, let me just leave that because we are gonna need it. I can import safe area view. Then can get rid of this. Safe area view. We're gonna give it a style of flex of 1. So the safe area view kind of make things to be between the box of our of the top of our Android phone and also at the bottom, in order to perfectly fit at the center so that they don't overflow. So let me just go ahead and save that. So let's refresh, and we should have something better there. So while that is going on, where is the problem from? So we have the safe area. We are not supposed to have an issue. So guys, I think the problem is coming from, let's kind of check. We have colors. Okay. So guys, I think we have a problem here. So let me kind of check, and let's save that. Okay. So import this directly in case you have that kind of error. So the thing we wanted to do was to wrap everything here in a safe area, and I'm going to remove that box and wrap everything in a safe area. So the error goes away and our app still works pretty fine. So at the bottom here, over here we have to put a view. So because the icons are moving in a horizontal way, let me kind of close this. So the icons are in a horizontal direction, not in a vertical direction. We have to give this a style, reflects direction of row. So align the items to center. Let me properly close that. So guys, sorry for these types, I'm making mistake. Align the items to center and give this a background color of white. So I wanted to follow kind of a convention of our application that we started working on. So let me kind of show you the example I meant. Let me go over to UI movement and go over to Semco cards. So you can see here we have this tab bar. So I wanted to have that similarity just like the way we started earlier. So that's why I am able to put down the white background color. So I'm going to give it a padding bottom of 10. Inside here, I'm going to bring down our tabs. So we're going to map everything. I'm going to return a parenthesis. So inside here, we're going to have animated.view. So let's just give this a style. For now, we are going to define the style, but let's just go ahead. Don't forget to add the key, which is the index that we're going to get from this. So from here, I can pull the other ones out. Then, so from here, I can just pull out the tab. And from the tab, so from the tab, can pull out the icon and the icon name. So if you got everything correctly, it's going to actually do these things the way we are doing it. So for the wrapper over here, we are gonna have those icons. So let me go ahead and add something like a text. Then I can add an icon name. So it just to show you that it's supposed to, yes, automatically you can see at the bottom part of our application, we can see home, car, and shield, which means that this is actually going fine. So, but those things kind of have a little bit size. I'm gonna create a custom style sheet because I don't want to have a big things inside this animated view. So I'm gonna create a style sheet. .create. Then we have for the tab, we're gonna have the width. So the width is coming from our segment. So let's go back and check that segment. So like I say, the segment is going to take the screen width that we have and divide it with the number of icons. So for it to perfectly fit here, we can actually do these two things correctly, but what if we don't actually get the remaining pixels? So that's why we use this round to nearest pixels to automatically put everything inside, then set it to the segment in order to have a fixed value that is going to assign to each segment and also fit to our screen. So even if we have 5 icons, 10 icons, they are automatically going to fit at the bottom part of our screen perfectly. So let's go back and continue. So it's gonna take the width of segment and it's going to take the height. So for the height is going to be the icon size, but we are gonna add a padding because this is like a wrapper. So we don't want it to be together with the icon size. Then we can multiply with half of that size. Then we can have a flex direction of row and we can align the items to the center. So we can just spread this out, styles.tab, and automatically everything should take the full shape. And you can see right here we have the home, car, and shield. And even if I give this something like, let me see whether this is gonna work, but let's just give this a, okay, yeah, it's gonna work. A background color of red. So let's make it this way, a border width of 1. So you can see automatically we have the segment fit perfectly for each of those icons. So this kind of is very good. Right now, let's go ahead and create a component called tabs. Not tabs, I mean. So let me just RAFCE. So if you have something better, you can suggest to me on the description. You can go ahead and do that. Oh no. So tab here, I'm just gonna add a null. I'm gonna come back to our welcome and import that over here. So I'm gonna import the tab. So the tab is going to accept some couple of things. First, it's going to accept the icon. So why we pass this icon over here is because I wanted to check back at this design. You can see that whenever any icon is active, it's going to automatically kind of shift, and it's going to just go off the initial position before the text appears. So that's why we're gonna clone it. Then from cloning it, then we can apply a style to the ones that we clone. Then the other previous one is still going to stay where it is. In case that the icon is no more active, it's going to return. So that's why we actually clone that. So back here we pass the icon. So let's just ignore that little warning, and I'm gonna put down the icon name as a prop. So let's go ahead and get rid of that warning over there. So we can create an interface tab props. So the first one is the icon name, which is going to just be a string, while the icon is a React element. So if you if you kind of find it difficult to actually know what kind of elements you are working with, let me save this. To actually know what kind of elements you are working with, you can just console.log that element. So let's just go ahead and console.log icon, and let's save and check in our console. So let me kind of check in our console. You can see we have a React element here. Automatically it's going to tell you the kind of element or the type of element. So that's how I predict the kind of elements I work with. So it says the children has no properties in common. So for the children, for us to make use of these props, just pass down the tab props. Then over here we can get the icon name and also the children. So we also have, okay, sorry, this is not the icon, it's the children. Yeah. So that's why we got that warning. When we go back over here, that warning should actually disappear. So automatically you see the icon, the warning left. So let's go ahead and make use of the icons. I'm gonna import animated from React Native Reanimated. So over here I'm gonna use the animated.view. Then we are gonna give our icon a height, the wrapper a height and also a width. Let me go ahead and do that. So we have a height, which is gonna be the icon size, and also the width, which is gonna be the icon size. So let's kind of compare two things together. So if you can recall, over here we give this a height of icon size, then we kind of added some things, then divided the padding into two. You can even include maybe a direct number if you wish to, but this kind of makes it look a little bit taller than the icon itself. So going back here, we can now add a padding of 0.5. So inside here we're gonna have a view with a style of flex of 1 to make use of the whole width and the whole height. And inside here we are gonna have okay, let me do it this way, animated of view. Then we're gonna put down the children. So let's save. It's gonna look ugly, but hopefully we should get our icon. So this view is gonna come directly from React Native. So it's good to use animated view, but sometimes if you know that you are not gonna animate an area or a section, I suggest that you highly avoid it so that you will not have an issue. So right now we have our icon, but everything kind of look ugly. So let's go ahead and fix that. So for this one, let me just go ahead and add the text finally before we continue. You can just add the icon name. So we have the icon name here. Icon name. So I'm just going to have a style. I want to space it out a little bit from the icon name. Give it a margin right of 10. We spelled this wrongly. Margin right. So the text is going to be coming from imports from theme. The text is going to be coming from theme. The text. So let's save that, and that should solve it. Let's kind of give this font size of 13, and we just specify the number of lines, which is 1. I don't want it to go to the next line in case the text is too long. So inside here we're gonna give this a flex direction of row. and we can align the items to center. We can give it a width. So let me just give this width lastly, but let's just justify this to center. So right now it actually looks cool. Let me kind of reduce this. It actually looks cool, but if you can observe, it's not making use of this full width because this just a separate entity. If we use flex of one, it's not making use of it. I don't really know why. Maybe I'll figure out that later, but the way we can fix that is to give it a width of segment. So when we give it a width of segments, automatically it's going to center, align every of our icon, and you can see how perfectly that looks, which is very fine. So we've added that tab, and let's go ahead and get rid of that border width. So let me get rid of this border width, and that looks very nice. So let me kind of cross check what we've done. Okay, so guys, the video is actually getting long, which I don't want it to get really long. So in the next part of the video, we've actually completed the tab arrangement. In the next part, we're gonna go over to the Tabbar animation. So do not forget to hit the like button. So guys, I know that I'm trying to create quality content videos, but trust me, the machine I use, the view is not perfectly okay. So if you want to maybe support me in this thing I'm doing, this the first time I'm asking of this, you can actually reach out to me and then you can just support me on this. So thank you, and make sure you hit the like button and also the subscribe button, and see you on the next part.